I'd like to call the Salary Board meeting to order. Would you join me for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, everybody. Welcome. And first item of business is that we approve the minutes from our last meeting on October 11th, 2022. Unless there are changes or corrections, I'll entertain a motion that we approve the minutes.
So moved.
Thank you. Thank you. Motion has been properly moved and seconded. All those in favor so signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, the one item on the agenda is a request from the Commissioners to create a lieutenant position at the jail at a salary of $42,000 a year. Warden, I see you're here. Did you want to address the board at this time?
The need for this position is based on crucial leadership need on the second shift, the overlapping from day to second shift and third shift. That person will be responsible for training that is needed. We're approaching our inspection within a year. That person will be responsible for the training of officers, also scheduling, as well as the overall leadership of that shift that he or she is on. I can't express enough the need for this position. The overall benefit the facility, staff-wise, and inmate-wise, it's a very needed position. I can't state it any longer. It's crucial. Thank you.
Thank you.
What's your current population? Oh, down a little bit then. But I know it's been hovering around 200.
Is there a motion as to the request?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second? Okay. Motion having properly moved and seconded. All those in favor so signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. I'm going to say no. My reason for doing so is that looking at it within the context of how expensive the jail has started to get between expanded medical services, discussions we're having for expanded mental health services, additional positions we may have to correct. I think for the time being the jail can live without the position, and I think that I just don't think it can always be for accommodation of government. I think sometimes one has to accommodate the taxpayer since the taxpayer has to pay for these positions. But that being said, the motion passed. So,
And I share your concerns about the costs at the jail, but I mean, until and unless we see
see with high numbers at the jail, and I just think as economic times being what they are, and with the average income in Clearfield County hovering between $25,000 and $26,000, again, I just think that's too much to ask of the taxpayers at this time. I think sometimes we just have to do without. And I think we can survive without. But I appreciate your position. I certainly realize it's sincere. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I do agree. We're looking at I'm sure we're looking at some type of medically assisted treatment program. We are trying to, because of the poor state of inmates, we are trying to do some things to help that. Unfortunately, the folks making the proposals are making some awfully expensive proposals, and I don't see them willing to negotiate with us at this point, which I think is unfortunate. And I am doing some research as to some experiences that some other counties have had in regard to that. Hopefully we'll find some maybe less expensive solutions to some of these issues we're dealing with. So, but we'll see. But thank you, fellas. I appreciate your comments.
Thank you.
Yep. All righty. I don't have anything else. Is there anything to go to the order? Then I will call for a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second? Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, and then we will roll right, thanks, Mary Ann. We will roll right into our commissioners' meeting. First item on the agenda is to approve the minutes. And Warden, you're welcome to stay, but if you have stuff to do, you certainly don't have to, so, okay. Um, Ask that we approve the minutes of the previous meeting.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Is there a second?
That would be you.
Oh, yes, that would be me. I forgot, Rob. Rob's done, except for his report. Okay, thank you. Motion having been properly moved and seconded, and I do second it. All those in favor, so signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, Rob, the bills.
General fund, $909,328.95. Last minute, $942.54. 911, $64,329.46. CDBG, $92,799.38. Domestic relations, $2,151.54. And children in years, $88,427.63, for a total of $1,157,979.50.
Thanks, Rob. Questions for Rob? If there being none, I'll entertain a motion that we approve the bills.
So moved.
And I'll remember to second it this time. Okay, thank you. Motion having been properly moved and seconded. All those in favor so signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Aye. We have some oh, thanks, yeah. I suppose we should sign this before we get into the next item of business. There you go. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Rob. All righty, we have some personnel issues for our consideration today. We have, under new hires, we have an adult probation officer in our probation department effective October 31st, 2022. We have a caseworker at Children and Youth Services effective November 14th, 2022. And finally, we also have hiring of a deputy warden at the Clearfield County Jail effective October 31st, 2022. I have nothing under transfers, under separations, retirements. I have a full-time corrections officer at the county jail effective the 24th of October, 2022. Caseworker at CYS effective the 25th of October, 2022. And a department clerk 2 in the pathonetary's office effective November 10th, 2022. I have nothing under miscellaneous, nothing under request for leave under the Family Medical Leave Act. Unless there are some additions or changes, I'll entertain a motion that we approve the personnel changes as stated.
So moved.
Thank you. I'll second that. Motion having been properly moved and seconded. All those in favor so signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Aye. Public comment. Anyone here for public comment? Does not look like it. All right. Under old business, I do not have anything. Under new business, the first item on the agenda is to consider the reappointment of Mr. Don Foster to the Clearfield County Conservation District in the position of Farmer Director. Is there a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Thank you. I will second that. Motion having properly moved and seconded. All those in favor so signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, next item we have for consideration is to consider Resolution 2022, number 12, setting the salaries of our elected officials for the years 2024 to 2027. And as the media, bless you, as the media is aware, on a previous meeting, the Clearfield County Election Board, or the Clearfield County Commissioners, authorized the preparation of and presentation of a resolution to establish the salaries for Clearfield County elected officials as governed by the county code and for the years that I just read, 2024-2027. We have for consideration by the board today Resolution 2022-12, which I will read. Whereas the Board of Commissioners of Clearfield County previously adopted compensation schedules for county officers, whereas the Board of Commissioners of Clearfield County desire to review the current compensation for the county officers and ensure parity amongst the salaries of the various county officers in recognition of the work they perform. As required by statute, the Board of Commissioners held a public hearing in our conference room on September 28, 2022 at 6 p.m. Deal with that issue. Said public hearing is properly advertised both in Progress and the Courier Express. on September 14th, 2022. Now therefore be it enacted and be it resolved as follows. Pursuant to the authority of the Board of Commissioners to fix the salaries of elected county officers, effective the first Monday of January 2024, the salary of the listed elected county officers shall be fixed as provided for on attachment A of this resolution. Said attachment being made part thereof and incorporated by reference as part of that resolution. I won't read those figures, but they will be, the information will be released to the press so they can be observed by the public. Now, therefore, be it enacted and resolved that, excuse me, I already said that, didn't I? Pursuant to 16 PS 11011-11, the Register of Wills and Prothonotary holders of a dual office serving as the Clerk of Orphans Court and the Clerk of Courts, respectively. Therefore, they receive additional compensation over and above that of elected county officers who only hold a single office. That also is reflected on attachment A. All previous resolutions inconsistent with this enactment shall be repealed or amended as to be consistent therewith. Duly adopted and enacted this first day of November 2022. Is there a motion that we approve resolution number 2022-12, establishing the salaries for elected officials for the years 2024 to 2027?
I'll make the motion, and if I may, I'll
Sure.
point out that this doesn't change any. This is the same exact proposal we voted on in September. There are no changes to the amounts. And as I said then, it'll have been 10 years for some people working here with no raise, and with the changes we made to the health insurance, I certainly felt and still feel that a change in compensation is warranted. I don't think anybody would take too kindly to working somewhere with no raise at all for a decade.
And I agree. I think with the changes to the health insurance, I certainly think the way the cost of living has gotten in the past couple of years, and the fact that the folks were willing to serve that long without a raise, I certainly think they're deserving of a raise at this time. So I concur in that feeling. So is there a motion? And I guess
I
you
made the
have
motion,
made that
yeah.
motion. I will second that motion. So motion having properly moved and seconded that the salaries be set at the amounts listed in attachment A, and again, which will be made available to the press. All those in favor so signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, very good. Now, third item on the agenda, we have a presentation by Rob Swales from Clearly Ahead to discuss a new revolving loan program that Clearly Ahead is establishing, thanks to some receipt of some monies from the Department of Community and Economic Development, which I believe, Rob, if I understand correctly, have started out as American Rescue Act funds. Is that correct? Okay, Rob, you have the floor. If you would please.
That way the people can hear it.
Yeah.
That's the only reason.
We've discovered that folks back in the area, this is very difficult to hear from our current microphones.
Thank everybody for attending this 2.5-hour presentation. Loan review program. No, thank you. As Commissioner Sobel had stated, that we were fortunate to be one of 21 economic development entities throughout the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania to have an approved plan for creation of a revolving loan fund program for economic development. And our focus is strictly on Clearfield County with small businesses. And this was a unique opportunity for us. It was a very competitive program through the American Rescue Program funds, and issued through the feds, through federal government, through the state small business credit initiative, so SSBCI is the acronym that this program was initiated under the ARPA program. So with that stated, that we're in receipt of $1.1 million to create a new revolving loan fund program to really piggyback and leverage small business growth in Clearfield County.
Hey, Rob, why don't you pull the microphone a little bit? There you go. Thank you.
Better?
Yep, thank you.
And with the initiative of with the revolving loan fund in Clearfield County, we're really opening this up to diversify to small businesses that have been overlooked in the past. Typically with revolving loan funds programs that are initiated throughout the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, they're for industrial entities and industrial-related entities, and they often overlook a lot of the commercial small businesses. So with this program, we were very focused on that we did not want to be excluding the small businesses your commercial mom and pop, so to speak, your downtown storefronts, your commercial retail, restaurant, hospitality, and tourism and recreation type of operations. Those tend to be more higher risk lending based, so oftentimes those programs are ineligible for the different types of revolving loan fund programs initiated throughout the state and throughout the regions. So this provided us a unique opportunity to create a program specific to those needs, as well as being able to cast a broad net throughout Clearfield County to help with projects. So it could be machinery and equipment, site and facility, working capital needs, and the terms are very flexible between 3 and 10 years. And the interest rate is actually, it's below market rate of what you're going to be seeing on the streets with conventional financing. And with this program, you're required to have a match participating financial source from another economic development entity, from a related revolving loan fund program, or commercial banking to leverage these projects. So we're pretty excited about it and really to get this unveiled and start distributing some of these funds for loan capacity in Clearfield County.
Thank you. Rob, how does one, if you're a owner of a small business and you want to apply for one of these loans, how do you go about doing it?
Sure. By applying for one of these loans, you contact Clearly Head Development, Paul McCloskey or myself. We have our information on the website, as well as we'll have the application and the guidelines online as well at clearlyhead.com later today.
Okay. Well, thank you, Rob. I noticed when I was looking at the information that it's targeted for disadvantaged areas in Pennsylvania, so of course within Clearfield County. And I for one, have always felt that rural Pennsylvania never really recovered from the Great Recession earlier from a number of years ago. And then, of course, the 2 years of COVID have been particularly hard on small business with the shutdowns and such. So I hope that this provides some assistance to small businesses and a lot of our small communities that were hit so hard in the past couple of decades, because a lot of times what makes life better in small towns are small business. So I hope this is able to help them out and even allow some folks that want to start a small business a chance to live their dream. So thank you.
Agreed. Yes, this is exactly the intent with this that we saw through the COVID times with the applicants, with all the small businesses that came in. And I think the federal and state government saw that as well, and so there was a need for additional lending opportunities to help these small businesses get over the recessionary based time there of the COVID days. So.
Yeah.
Well, and this is more, I mean, the COVID monies were primarily to help businesses survive.
That's correct.
This hopefully will help perhaps get some new businesses up and running and flourishing. So that's a big need.
Yeah, yeah, and we have noticed, even though times are tough, we've started to see some new small businesses throughout the county start to appear, which is a good sign. So hopefully this will be an added shot in the arm for it. So very good. Okay, Rob, thank you.
That's all I have. Thank
Thank you
you.
so much.
Thank you. And thank you for putting up with me almost saying the Great Recession. All right, thank you. Lastly, I do want to announce that the Commissioners' meeting and Retirement Board meetings of November 22nd, 2022, of course, later this month, are going to be rescheduled to November 17th, 2022, guys, because of some scheduling issues we have. So, Heather, Solicitor's Report.
I have nothing additional from last week.
Oh, my goodness.
No new election. We're pending. We're
No.
November
We're close
8th
enough
of
now.
all days is the actual deadline for the one case that's pending. So
Yeah.
hopefully nothing crazy gets issued within the next week and we'll be okay.
Very good, thank you. Anything for the good of the order, guys?
Just remember, if today's the deadline for mail-in and absentee. But everybody who doesn't do that, we hope you'll come out to the polls next Tuesday, and we'll get everything handled as quickly as we can.
Yep, it's one of the most important things you can do as an American citizen. So,
Agreed.
all righty. Well, thank you. I'll entertain a motion that we adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you. I'll second that. Motion properly moved and seconded. All those in favor so signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Aye.